Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck and Cooper, and I'm going to do my April 2024 book haul. So I did buy a lot of books. I bought 32 books. This month there's a little bit more than I meant to, but I also went to a library book sale. I bought a lot of used books. I didn't go to the big library book sale that I meant to go to, and I think I kind of compensated for that by buying other books on sale and stuff, because I really missed that sale. But I was so sick the second half of the month that I just kind of let myself buy a little bit more books than I should have. And I did buy quite a few books in a series that I'm reading to get all the physical copies on my shelf. So, you know, I made some choices, maybe not my best choices, and I didn't read as much off my shelf to compensate for this. I just didn't do very good that way. So we're not doing very good on the reading off my shelf, but I'm hoping to do better in the next couple months, even though May is my birthday month, so I will probably buy a lot of books, but I'm hoping April and May will be my high months, and then through the summer it'll be lower. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, so let's talk about the books that let's talk about the pre-ordered books I bought first. The first was The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. I don't know why I picked this up, but I pre-ordered it because everybody was talking about it, and they kept talking about it, and I finally just picked it. As I said, I pre-ordered it right before it came out because it had the black sprayed edges. And it's not like super, you know, fancy or anything, but there is some kind of crust-like thing in there. Anyway, I don't know. So we'll see, because this is like historical fantasy with like Spain, 1600s, I think. And then there's some magic involved, and somebody has an ability and is being used, and then somebody else gets involved that's trying to, you know, get stuff from the king. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know why I bought that overall. I probably shouldn't have, because I've not finished a book by her before, but I do want to read that. So I bought it. I did get a copy of The Hemlock Queen by Hannah Winton. This is book 2 in the Nightshade Crown trilogy. And I have not read the first one, The Foxglove King. I did try to read it a couple months ago, but it was just at a time where I wasn't in a fantasy mood. So I only read like half a chapter, and then I was like, okay, I'll come back to this, and I just haven't yet. But now that I have book 2, I need to kind of make some progress. This one doesn't, it has kind of a cool thing on that, green there. And I did get the Barnes & Noble signed copy. But I really liked her Wilderwood duology, For the Wolf and For the Throne. So that's why I bought The Foxglove King. I just have not got to the series yet. So now that I have book 1 and 2, I really will try to read these pretty soon. Hopefully before book 3 comes out next year. I think it's next year. Anyway, so I want to get to that trilogy. Start it at least. I also picked up the rule book by Sarah Adams. So again, Sarah Adams is probably my favorite contemporary romance author right now. I just love her books. The rule book is the newest one, and it's kind of connected to the cheat sheet, companion novel wise. This is a second chance romance, so I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get along with it, but it has like a football player, and I think she's a PR. She does something. I'm not sure how that goes. I don't remember, but we're going to see. I think they knew each other in college or something. I don't remember how it goes, but it's like, I think it's a second chance. So we'll see how that goes. But I love Sarah Adams, so I'm looking forward to that. The one pre-order I have read, I think it's the only book in here I've read, is Archangels Lineage by Nalini Singh. This is book 16 in the Guild Hunter series. So this is about archangels, angels, and vampires with humans who are called hunters. And it's a world which just has a lot of political machinations going on, and the world is kind of trying to kill everybody. This was a great addition to the story. I didn't know how this was going to go, and oh, this was just I'll talk more about it. I would have already talked about this in my last weekly update, just because this was just, it was devastating. But it was like, I don't know where they're going to go from here. So I don't know how she's going to continue the series, or where she's going to go with the series. But again, really love that. Probably my favorite book of the year so far. And it was one of my, most anticipated books. Okay, so let's quickly go through all the new books that I bought. Most of them I got at discounted prices, because them cheap. Anyway, so I did go to Target one day and got Hate by Tate James. This is the first book in the Madison Kate series. I wanted to try it, and so I got that. So it's more of I don't know if it's like a revenge why choose story, but we'll see what happens. And then I got Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver, because so many people have been talking about that, and that's about some serial killers who fall in love. I'm not sure about that. I did pick up a copy from Blackwells, Empire the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. This is the first one in this series. I don't actually know what this series is called, but I don't remember. Anyway, but the second book, Empire of the Damned, just came out. So this one I had started a couple months ago. It's still in my currently reading because I got it from an audio from the library, but I bought a copy, audio copy. So this does have really kind of cool prints in here too. Anyway, I just wanted a physical copy because I think I'm going to tandem read it. But I did start it. And again, it's about a world where everything has kind of gone dark. The vampires are ruling and a man is telling his story. So it kind of has that whole King Killer Chronicles kind of start to it. So anyway, I did really enjoy the first. I read about 10% of that and then had to give the library back the copy. So I'm hoping to get back to that one. So I bought a copy of that. I got A Dawn of Onyx by Kate Golden. This is the first book in the Sacred Stones series. So I bought a couple of books that I'm like, I don't know a whole lot about, but this is a fantasy romance trilogy, I guess. And this one has to do, I don't know. She's been taken prisoner by the most dangerous kingdom on the continent. And something about her magical powers and the Onyx King. I don't know anything else. I've just heard some people read this series. I know book 2 just came out and the 3rd book comes out later this month. So I got it. I don't know. We'll see if I get to it. I picked up The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. I'm kind of curious how I feel about this. I did not like The Prince of Thorns. That was too grim dark for me. But I've heard really good things about The Book That Wouldn't Burn. So I'm hoping that this, because it has to do with the library and some people who are in it and some people who come to it. I'm not sure. Beyond that, I don't know. I know book 2 just came out in hardback, so it'll be a while before I get that one. But I do want to try this. I mean, I might get it from the library at some point, but I do want to try that. I picked up a letter. Oh, this is a pre-order. Oops, I missed another pre-order. Sorry. So I had 5 pre-orders. This is a letter to the Luminous Deep by Sylvia Catherell. I think I got this on the last time Barnes & Noble had a big sale for the pre-orders. And because I wanted to get it, and I got it for that. So this one, ooh, it's kind of different. I know this has to do with underwater home, and then somebody discovers a strange, beautiful creature. And then there's a correspondence between them, and then something happens to them, and then I think the siblings of that person is now trying to figure out what happened. I think so. It just sounded really neat. I think this is a debut novel. I'm not positive now. But it was one that it was a pre-order. Again, I forgot that I pre-ordered this because I was really curious about it. So I got it. We'll see what happens on that one. I also picked up The God of Endings by Jacqueline Holland. So I think this is like has historical elements of artists and something I think happened with someone is immortal. I don't know how that works, but I've seen some good reviews on it, and I just picked it up because it was on the buy one get one half off, and I bought that one day at Barnes & Noble. And then I also picked up The Bristle Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen. I've been meaning to read this for years because every time I get KU, I think, okay, I'm going to read it this time. And I just never did. And I think it's just because it was on KU, and that never goes well for me, and I don't keep it for very long. So it's really pretty on the chapters. So this is about a woman who, she's been raised to be the wife of this other kingdom, and again, she's supposed to kill him or something. So I think it's an enemies to lovers, and then she gets there and nothing is what she was told that she was going to deal with. So I don't know. I think it's a duology in a series of duologies. So I do want to get to this and see if I want to continue. because I do want to read her A Fate Inked in Blood as well, but I feel like I need to read that first, but we'll see what happens, which one I pick. Okay, so that's all the new books that I bought new. Everything else is used. So I had, as I said, I had one library book sale, so that I bought a few books. I got Cold Welcome by Elizabeth Moon. This is a sci-fi about, I think someone's left on a planet for some reason, some business-wise or something, and something goes wrong or something happens. I don't remember, but it's not been on my wish list forever. I found a copy. I also got Honeyed Words by J.A. Pitts, and again, it's signed. This library, oh, I dropped things. But I haven't read the first book, Black Blade Blues. It's actually one of the urban fantasies I do want to try to pick up this year. I should not have bought this, but it was only $2 at the library book sale, so I just picked it up in case I do like the series. This is, I don't know how many books are actually in the series after all, and I don't remember. She's a blacksmith, and that's about all I remember about this. And somehow, you know, again, there's something urban fantasy-wise, I don't know, but I do want to get to that series. So that's a reminder that I need to get to the other book. I just haven't yet. And then I picked up book 2 in The Janitors of the Post-Apocalypse, Terminal Uprising by Jim C. Hines. So I just read this month. It was really funny because I found this like a week after I finished Terminal something. My brain just shut down. What is that called? Terminal Alliance. And I really enjoyed it. It was just a fun sci-fi because the janitors, somehow, because of something that happens to the crew, they are now in charge of the ship, and they're trying to figure out what happened because now they are all marked that they are to be killed. And it's kind of that, and then it's how I'm curious to see where the next book goes. It's a trilogy, so now I have book 2 at least to read. I don't have book 3 yet, but I got at least one more. But I did enjoy the other book, so, and I just need to finish his books. I have a tendency to read all the first books in his series and then not continue, but I'm going to try to continue with that one fairly soon. I did pick up a No Fear Shakespeare. I've never gotten one of these. My dad has a few of them. But this one is King Lear, and this is one of the tragic plays that I have not read. I've read most of the bigger plays. I have not read everything. I read a lot in college and some in high school, you know, like you're supposed to. But King Lear never came up in any of my classes. And it's not one that I've read on my own, but I figured, hey, I know I have the big Riverside Shakespeare that's huge with all my notes and stuff in it, but I think I want to try to read it through this, where it has the main text on one side, and then on the other side is kind of the modern English version. I just think it'd be kind of interesting. King Lear is one of the ones I don't know a whole lot about, so I do want to read that. And again, I got that cheap. This one was kind of like... I probably shouldn't have bought it because this is not in the series. I haven't even started the first series, the Rhaenyra Revelations. And then this is the book 2 of the second set of the Rhaenyra Chronicles. This is this Rose and the Thorn by Michael J. Sullivan. So I keep thinking I'm going to read him, and I have like 3 or 4 books of his now. But it was such a good copy for a couple bucks that I picked it up. So that one, maybe not my best buy. And then I picked up one kind of on a whim, and I'm kind of thinking I might read this, because I'm pretty sure he's Victorian. I'd have to go back and look. Yeah, first published in 1895. So this is Lilith by George MacDonald. And I've not read any of his other fantasy stuff or kids books that he's come out with, but I'm pretty sure this is an adult one, but I'm not positive. I'll have to look more into it. But Lilith... I have no idea what it's about, but he's one of those Victorian authors I wanted to try this year that has more fantasy elements in it. So we'll see. It's kind of a cool cover, but I don't know what it means. I have no idea because there's really no description anywhere on the book of what it's about. I just picked it up because of his name and then I knew that he was Victorian. And then I got a couple books when I was... down to my parents, and I went to a bookstore that I had never been to, and I got Garden Spells by Sarah Addison Allen. So I've heard a lot about her magical realism, or, you know, stuff with, I think there's some magic with some something in the garden. I don't know if it's a tree or some sort. And I've heard really good things about this book and some of her other books, but I wanted to give her a shot, and I found it there really cheap, just for a couple of bucks, because they had multiple copies. Because I think the owner liked the books, so, or liked her books and had too many. And then I picked up a classic, and this was the only, well, not the only classic, but this is the only, because again, I had the King Lear, but this is my only poetry. I don't buy poetry often, except I've always wanted to get this collection of Sappho. So it's If Not Winter, Fragments of Sappho. It's put together in this collection by Anne Carson. So it's really interesting because, I mean, again, it would be like a super fast read because, again, we only have so much, but one side is the Greek and then the other side is English. So it shows how much we really have of Sappho. And it's so fascinating. Again, I read some of her poems in college for one of my ancient, you know, classics, you know, classes, and I did really find it interesting. I'm not a poetry person, so this is not something I expect to get maybe as much out of it as someone who's more into poetry, but it's more of a history aspect to me of ancient stuff that I just want to take a little bit more time going through. And again, it wouldn't take me long to do it, but I just think it'd be kind of interesting to go through. So that's kind of a weird one. I don't know if it'll come up with a prompt in a readathon or something where I have to read poetry, but I would read that one because I don't own any other that I can think of in all the classics I have. I'm pretty sure and that's the only poetry I have. I've already read the small little black classic I had of Emily Bronte, so I don't have any other. Anyway, okay, and then let's see here, hold on. As I said, I did buy quite a few books off of thrift books. And what I did is the first section of these is all the last of the Love It Stak series that I did not own. So I owned most of them. I do listen to these a lot of times on audio. I'm doing buddy reads with Berner's Bookish Adventures this year. We started last fall. And so these are all the books that I have that I didn't own that are in the series. So I have How to Seduce, I don't know what the numbers are on any of these. How to Seduce a Vampire Without Really Trying. I guess some of them have, I don't know if they have any, they have a step back. Woohoo! Eat, Pray, Love, Pray with me. Let's see. Oops. Oh, there's another step back. Vampire Mine. Ooh, I didn't even realize I got so many step backs. How funny. The Vampire with the Dragon Tattoo. Ooh. And The Vampire and the Virgin, which is the one we're reading in May, so I just started this. By the time this comes up, we'll be finishing up. But anyway, but that one's that one. And then the last one I have has a combination of several short stories, but one of them, this is Vampires Gone Wild. This one has Sherilyn Sparks, Pamela Palmer, Amanda Arista, and Kim Faulkner, which I have not read any of them. But this one is V for the Vamp Woman. V for Vamp Woman is the short story or the novella that we'll read in this one at some point. So anyway, I have everything now for that read along or the buddy read that we're doing. So I'm really excited to get to those. I also got How Do You Want to Start a Scandal by Tessa Dare. I didn't get a great copy, but it was really cheap. So this is one of the is it the Happily Ever After, or what is it? What is that series? Castles Ever After, or Spindle Cove. I can't remember. It might be in the Spindle Cove. It's in one of the series. Okay, because I need one more book in the Castles Ever After that crosses over with Spindle Cove, and I don't remember if this is it or not. Anyway, and then I have a couple more of the Spindle Coves to read in her series before I move on to some other of her series that I haven't got to. So I'm trying to get to those this year. This is one I definitely want to read this year, so I picked it up. Not the greatest copy, But if I find another one later, I will buy another one because that was not a pretty copy. I did buy another Molly Harper. I really enjoyed reading those last year. So this one's Nice Girls Don't Have Fangs. So this one is about a woman who, I think she gets attacked. Yeah, she is mistaken for a deer and shot on her way home from work. And then I think she wakes up, but she has fangs now. So I'm not sure how it all goes. I think this is a series. There's quite a couple of books in this series that follows her. So I'm kind of curious to see how that goes. Again, I've liked a lot of her series, like the Mystic Bite. I don't remember what the name of that series was. And then one of her witches one. And I do have a couple other books of hers from other series that I want to try. One with werewolves. One is a haunted house. I'm enjoying Molly Harper, so I bought another one to try. And then I bought Necroscope Resurgence by Brian Lumley. This is book 2 in the Lost Years. So I found The Lost Years is probably the oldest book on my TBR that I have not read yet from the Necroscope series. So that book is on my to be read shelf because I've been carrying it around for, well, let's see here, like 28 years, something like that. Something insane. I've had it so long, but I didn't have the next book before. I have a few more of the Necroscope back here that that are next that come after this one, but I never bought this one because I never read The Lost Years. I kind of skipped around and but I never finished anything after I finished the main 2 series. So I want to go back and get back into this and hopefully finish this horror. It's a horror vampire series, very gory, very horror. Necroscope is following Harry, who is, well, he's called a necroscope because he can talk to the dead. And he, the whole series, the first series is, it's mind-blowing when I was a teenager. I started reading them when I was 14, 15, and pretty much blew my mind on the possibilities of how, different, you could take a thing like a vampire, but change it and make the world just so incredibly different and weird. So weird ideas in that book. I still love that. I really almost restarted the series recently, but I did not. Anyway, I'm going off. Sorry. So I did buy that. Then on Independent Bookstore Day on the 27th, I did go to Powell's and I picked up 2 used books. I picked up Witch of the Wild Things by Raquel Vasquez Gilliand. And this has to do with a woman who was running away from her family's kind of magical gifts and stuff. But she comes back after her sister has died. And it has something to do with botany and something to do, with stuff going on. It's rare plants. I'm not sure. So we'll see. I just picked that up kind of on a whim because I'd seen it around, but I haven't heard anybody actually read it. But it was, again, it was a used copy. And then I also picked up What Lies Beyond the Veil by Harper L. Woods. This is the first book in a Flesh and Bone series. So this one has to do, I think there's a veil that lowers or something. And so then somebody, I don't remember if they're come to claim this woman for something or other. I don't know. It's a romantic or a fantasy romance. So that I've heard a lot about that, I've heard good and bad things about the series, but it was there and I just was like, well, I want to buy something. So I picked that one up. I just picked it up on a whim. And then the last one I bought was, I don't know if I will actually read this copy. I might have to find, I know I can find an audiobook for the first half, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do on this one. But because I read a book that talked about, or I read Strange Practice by Vivian Shaw, the first book in the Dr. Greta Helsing series. I am getting the other 2 books. They did not show up in time for this haul, so technically they're going into May. But there was a character of Varney the Vampire. And so this is one of those Penny Dreadfuls. I do have a couple that I've bought over the years. And I know I have one more I need to read? Oh, The Necromancer I have to read. But anyway, this is Varney, and it's by James Malcolm Reimer. I don't remember the years it was published. But it was you know, in the, what do you call it? In the Victorian age. Oh, I was hoping they would just tell me the year. Anyway, it does not. Of course, it's hiding. It looks like 45 or 47. You know, it was, I don't know. We'll see. It's in the 40s or 50s, I think, of 1800s. So, this is following a vampire, and it's his, you know, it's gigantic. I got this one. There's copies where I could have got double, you know, twice this, but I bought this one online, and it took a while to get here because they messed up this. It's just really tiny print. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to read this. I know, as I said, I can get a audiobook that's like half of the, like it's the first part. I don't know if they ever did the whole thing. So I'll have to relook to see about that. But this was the classic that I would really like to try to read this year, even though it's gigantic, because it's a vampire and it's the Penny Dreadful. So there's a lot, there's, you know, I don't know, there's tons of chapters, 220 chapters. So I could totally split it up and, you know, read a few chapters a day or whatever. So we'll see. I do want to read this because after reading about him in the other series, this is the one I had left. I've read most of the other stories that were attached to that one. So I do want to read this, isn't it? It's gigantic and teeny print. Anyway, so those are all the books that I bought in April, except for the 2 books in that series that did not show up yet. They'll probably show up next week. This week that this is going to be posted. And then, because they're stuck in transit. They took forever to get here, so it didn't happen. So those will just go into May. May will be a big month too, because again, it's my birthday month. So I assume I will buy a lot of books. Now again, because nobody buys me books for my birthday, I buy myself books because they give me money for gifts and stuff. So we'll see. And I do have quite a bit of, I did buy a few books the other day because I had reward points and my birthday reward from Barnes & Noble. So I already used that. So it's just, May is already starting out to be a high month, but we'll see what happens. So if there's any books on here you think I need to get to sooner rather than later, let me know. Anything that's really good that I need to get to. As I said, the only book I read on here is the Nillingi Sing, which is not a surprise really, but that I read it right away, but I haven't read any of the rest of these. So anyway, let me know what you think. Did you guys buy anything really good in April? I think that's it. And so Cooper and I will see you later. Bye.